Hi guys, welcome to the week 14 video lesson for Group Piano 4. This is kind of the last regular video lesson of the semester. Next week you have the semester self-assessment due, which is just a short little document for you to fill out. That's the only assignment that's due. That is the only thing that you have to do. Next week you are also welcome to do some extra credit work if you like, and that would involve turning in any additional items from units 24, 25, or 26 that are not part of the assignment. So we're not covering unit 25 in a video lesson. So basically anything from that is up for grabs. Solo reps, score readings, harmonization with two-hand accompaniment, all that good stuff that hasn't been on the assignments. From those units, you are welcome to turn in next week for some extra credit. So again, that will only help your grade. So if you turn in one thing, it'll be a little bit of extra credit. If you turn in 8 things, it'll be a lot of extra credit. So just totally up to you. Again, I encourage you guys to think about, not just like, extra credit, great. If you think that it's better for you to just work on the exam, go for that, and that'll be just fine. So let's get into this week's assignment though. So as usual, the full technique routine for B flat is attached in a separate video. So you'll go ahead and access that. And then we'll get into unit 24, which is the 2-5-7-1 chord progression. This is a nice, easy chord progression compared to some of the ones that we've done recently. So hopefully you guys will find that this is a little bit of a step backwards in difficulty. It's like, okay, I could totally do this, no problem. So let's just go ahead and play through the 2-5-7-1 chord progression. And they have this nice little thing where you would go down by step. So like D, yeah, that's right, okay. 2-7-5-7-1. Oh, it's kind of like a jazzy thing. And then a 2-5-7-1. And then you keep going until you get back to C. That really is lovely. That sounds so pretty. Pretty right there. Okay. Anyways, you could try that. We have some technique playing some of the contrary motion scales, harmonic minor. That's a really great way to prep yourself for playing those scales hands together, is to try contrary motion, because again, you have the swaps in the same places. So definitely something that you could try. We have a solo rep right here, Menuet in G major. Fun fact, they don't really think anymore that this was written by Bach, like Johann Sebastian Bach, but maybe it was like one of his family members, perhaps even a girl family member, which is why she didn't get credit for it. But one of the most famous pieces from the Notebook for Anna Magdalena, beautiful no matter who wrote it. This one is kind of a perfect example of some very simple counterpoint where we have an opening theme. And then the left hand kind of takes a similar pattern. So again, we have basically 2 voices that are working together throughout this song, and again, it's not really a traditional melody in one hand, purely accompaniment in the other. So kind of keeping that in mind, I would go through and practice hands separately for sure. The second page is a little bit harder than the first page, so maybe take a little bit of extra time there, but it is really helpful to notice that about in measure 32, the opening theme comes back. So once you've learned that opening theme really well, it is going to come back and kind of help you because it's very similar there at the end. With this one also, typically the markings that they have are quite nice, but you do want to make sure that usually your quarter notes are going to be detached in this. So you take basically in a Baroque piece, you take the smallest note value, and those are going to be the ones that you play a little bit more connected. And then the longer note values, you end up playing with a little bit more of a detached touch. Some of their slur slurs, but unless there's a slur in place, keeping those notes detached. So I'll go ahead and just play this one through from the very beginning, no repeats. Great one to learn, and I really do love this piece, and I think it's a beautiful one to learn for when somebody asks, like, oh, you play piano? And you're like, you know, just a little. Except for you don't make that mistake there. That was just, you know, that was just an example. So moving along, you will have one of the 3 reading excerpts for your actual assignment for this week. So just one of these 3 reading exercises from pages 308 to 309, and I'll just go ahead and play through each of them. Adorable. We have number 2 here. This one's my favorite. Love this one. Really simple left hand here. Really it's simple overall. It's pretty repetitive, and just these open fifths, basically going up and down by step, is very easy, very straightforward. And then we have the excerpt from Prayer by Gurlitt is number 3. That's not the right notes. Okay, let's just note that again. Right. So then we have one of the 3 harmonizations from 309 to 310. The 2 on 310 are for you to fill in. Very simple chord options for each of these. So go through, and again, there's probably multiple right answers, also wrong answers, so you could fill in either of those. I will just go ahead and demonstrate the number, the one here on page 309, the England. And I'm just going to go ahead and play that through in the original key first and then transposed. This one is so simple compared to some of the ones that we've done in the previous weeks. It's all it is just like a 1, 5, 6, 5, 1, 5, 6, 5. The only thing we have at the end is a 2, 6, 5, 7 in root position back to 1. It's really, really simple. So I'll just play it both hands in the original key, both hands transposed, and it's really, really straightforward. I think you're going to find this quite easy. We'll go to the transposed key. So again, a huge relief increase in difficulty from some of the ones that we've done lately. So you could choose one of the other options, which are also similarly just a lot easier than some of the ones from previous units. We have improvisation from chord symbols. As usual, great opportunity to practice chords with melody and even try the accompaniment patterns there. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the string quartet and the choral scores. So for this quartet number 4 in D minor, I really love this. In one of the teaching methods that I use, they use this melody in a little song for student learners called Mozart's 5 Names, and it's like, this composer's name was very long. If you say it loudly, say it strong. Say Johannes Chrysostomus Wolfgang Amadeus. Mozart was his name. Mozart was his name. So anyways, I don't know where I played that whole thing and sang the whole song, but I really like that, and it makes me happy to get to play this string quartet because I love that song for the children. So let's go ahead and do kind of what we've been doing. We're going to play it separately first and then together. You can certainly go through and play each part individually, but I think that kind of focusing on the hands is easiest. And then we notice that in the alto clef the viola part, we have that little ending part where we go up to right hand. So again, just keeping in mind, where is that middle C? Really, we don't have very many notes in the viola part. It's pretty simple. So right over here, we start on G, and then when we get to that little thing that we're going to do with the right hand, it's going to go B, D, B, and then we'll go back and grab the G with your left hand. And then over here, it's an E, G, E at the very end of that first line. So pretty simple. Also noticing one more thing with the viola part is that in measure 6, it's in unison with the cello part. So let's go ahead and play the right hand. Viola and the cello part together. So again, we'll just drop out when we have the right hand playing the viola part, and in the left hand, the viola starts on a G. That's kind of the trickiest part with the viola and the cello together, is to have to play those different notes in the viola part. So just keep your hand really relaxed. And that's all a G there. Unison. But in that measure 5, basically just let your hand really bounce and don't worry too much about connecting the viola part. That's quite tricky. It's just a lot easier to kind of just let your hand bounce and play through those notes in the viola part. So here it is, both hands together. Love it. Here is Dies Irae, and we'll go ahead and do again. Same thing, right hand first, then left hand. And notice again all the little places where the right hand grabs the tenor part. Rest. And then we'll play the left hand. you write these notes for a bass, he will not like you anymore. So this is very high bass part, but that's what Mozart did, I guess. So pretty simple, but again, there's a little bit of coordination stuff that's tricky with switching between right hand and left hand for the tenor part. So we'll go ahead and play both parts together now. Tricky there at the end, just a little bit. But again, if you give that a couple of practices, it shouldn't be too bad. So again, for next week, we have an ensemble repertoire. You can definitely use that for some practice, some sight reading, or some work putting some parts together. So for next week, again, not a regular assignment due, just the semester self-assessment, but you can turn in any of the items from these previous units or the upcoming unit for some bonus points next week, if you so choose. Just totally an option to put out there for you. And then our last video lesson will be the final exam. So I will see you in the next one.